It's not blinking.
What's up, y'all boys? We're back here with another episode of the Loyal Sons Forever True podcast, and it's episode 8, and we're going to be talking about forgiveness. I'm Carson Hansen.
And I am Aiden Gilmore. And like he said, we're going over forgiveness. So, what is something that happens a lot, like around in the world, where we could, use this forgiveness? Like, should we start off with an example, a story? What do you got?
For an example, I think just like a general example, like around the world, like I guess as athletes. So when someone like backstabs you on the team and like takes your position in like a dirty way or something like that, you can be really bitter from that. You can want to like take revenge on that. Like what in our modern culture says, like, get your lick back. That's what the modern culture says. And then also just like in life, like just say you're in a relationship and someone cheats on you and you're like, well, I think I should get back at that person. And like, maybe like I'll get back with them and then like I'll cheat on them. Cause like, oh, like that's just going to make me feel so much better, but it's not. So those are just some examples in the real world of how taking revenge or having bitterness in your heart can lead to tough times.
Yeah. Let's go back to that like football example. So there's so many things in life where when we think of forgiveness, it's this like, oh, I'm sorry, or oh, I forgive you. Like sometimes most of the time actually, it's not that simple, right? So if someone does backstab you and you hold like a grudge or like a hatred towards them just for something they did, and it wasn't really directed towards you, right? You still should set yourself free of, any sort of hatred or bitterness, and kind of it's like forgiving them. I don't even know the real term for that. Or maybe it's just like forgiving yourself. Like, hey, like it's okay. Like maybe he was just better, or maybe he didn't do anything dirty to like get that spot. And he was just better and he tried his best. And sometimes we can still hold a hatred when someone does something, they tried their best and they still got ahead of you. Like if you're a worker and you're this other guy gets promoted instead of you, like it's just don't hold grudges towards that, because like, yeah, it sucks, but hey, like just set yourself free. So let's go into like some Bible verses of like, hey, how can you set yourself free, right?
Yeah. Just one thing I wanted to say before we get into the verses is, what was I going to say?
I was gonna say. Did you just say verses?
No, I said verses.
Oh, I swear you said verses.
I was gonna say, if you hold a grudge against someone, you're really like, it's more of a burden on you than it is the other person. So, if we're just being like logical, humans, it would be best to forgive that person. Also, go to the Lord and pray about it and ask to forgive that person, just like praying to the Lord as well. Yeah. So it can be like human interaction and also like praying. Like it's good to pray about it and do it physically.
Yeah, it's good to pray about everything. So we have a verse here from Colossians 3:13. Make allowance for each other's faults and forgive anyone who offends you. Remember, the Lord forgave you, so you must forgive others. And I think that must forgive others, like must. That's like a big word, right? So like us Christians must forgive each other. That's kind of like a have to, right? Like that's the same word as have to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a command, really.
Yeah, so really we should forgive each other, and it's not only just because God forgives us, and it's because like forgiveness frees us from bitterness and hatred, and it's also not our job to like get revenge. It's God's job, right? It's God's job to get justice, and not our own. So I think that's pretty interesting, right? Mm-hmm. What do you got?
Yeah. Forgiveness frees us from bitterness and hatred towards each other, which could create more sin. So you want to get rid of like that bitterness and that hatred towards person. Like as soon as you can.
Yeah.
Like as soon as you can get it out of you, like that is the best thing to do, because if you just let it keep on snowballing day by day by day, it's just going to become worse. And so it's better to just like address it right away.
Yeah, and it's gonna open doors to the enemy. And because when God says like you must do it, right? Like there's a reason for that, right? Because if you don't do that, you know, and if you do have bitterness and hatred, you're gonna like open the doors to sin and maybe create a new sin. Maybe that's drinking, getting drunk every day. Maybe that's smoking every day, like trying to get yourself away from this feeling of hatred, or I don't know, like, and everybody has their own coping mechanisms, but like, yeah, it's just not our job. We need to let that go.
Yeah. A good Did you go over Romans 12:19?
I did not.
Let's do that. Romans 12:19 says, "Dear friends, never take revenge. Leave that to the righteous anger of God. For the scriptures say, I will take revenge. I will pay them back, says the Lord." Yeah. What do you think about it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good one. I guess everything in the book is pretty good. But yeah, like I said earlier, it's not our job to take revenge. Even though we still do it, and sometimes it might feel good, but in the long run, like you may have made yourself feel better, but you might have hurt that person, right? And our goal in life is to build people to the kingdom, right? And so it's not good, to pay revenge, because, in this verse right here, God says, I will take revenge. It's his job.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I guess that's my take on it. Kind of like what I said earlier.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to talk about was thinking everyone as image bearers. If we aren't able to forgive them, like we're not being a light to other people. We're not being Christ-like. And Christ did the ultimate forgiveness for us by, sacrificing himself on the cross. So I just think we always should be reflecting on the love of Christ, the forgiveness of Christ, and just like trying to pour that out onto others. And the two things that I think of is just like the two commands, like love your God with your whole heart and love your neighbor as yourself. And that, like, the second one is huge. Like, if you did something stupid, say you screw up on, school or whatever it is, or sport, or just like in life in general, in your job, you forgive yourself usually. Like, it's pretty easy to forgive yourself. Some people might be kind of harsh on themselves, but
yeah, I would say I'm terrible at forgiving myself. Very hard on myself. But I also wanted to bring up, like, speaking of that, when we get angry at people and, maybe don't forgive them for something, that's ultimately putting other people at a higher standard than yourself. Because, well, we're all going to mess up. We're all, like, I might have made someone angry today. I might make this kid angry. Like, I don't know.
Right.
But without even knowing it. So if you do that, right, it's good to think about it like, hey, we all mess up, right? So like that, I feel like that helps me forgive people a lot of the time, because, hey, I shouldn't hold this guy to a higher standard. Like, maybe I don't even know the guy. So like, why would I be holding him to a great standard of things that I can't even do? Because I make people angry. Like, I sometimes struggle to forgive people and forgive my own self. So I feel like we shouldn't, make people a higher standard and kind of put ourselves in a situation of thinking like, oh, he did that, I don't do that, I'm better than them. You know?
Yeah. I was just thinking about the last church service, and when Pastor Mark was talking about how we live in a fallen world like east of Eden. So Eden is like the perfect creation God created, and now we live in, a creation that is fallen because of, man. So I would say like we can't be so surprised when people wrong us because it's like we live in a fallen world.
Yeah.
Like, we live in a screwed up world.
It's almost like funny to like think about that
I
because it's
know.
just like we get so worked up and like so angry and like so stressed out,
I know.
and it's just like
Yeah.
we all do it,
right.
right?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure if you do something to someone, and well, say someone does something to you, you'd want to forgive them because probably sometime in your life you'll do the exact same thing, and you'll want someone to forgive you.
yeah, or you already have done it.
So, but I think that's just a good perspective to have. Like, we're in a fallen world, so don't be surprised when someone slanders you, says something about you that you don't like, whatever it is. Like, just let's be, like, have this perspective of like let's just be Christ-like in this fallen world.
I love that church service too. It was talking about, how God made us to work and we should do that to our best ability.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, that makes me just think of, God gave us certain things and we should use anything that we have to our best ability. And it's not to make us look good, it's to make God look good. So if you're a person out there that's really good at forgiving people, that's pretty awesome. And you should keep doing that. There's because some people are easy at forgiving or some people are really bad at forgiving. Like, we all have our own different skill sets. But I did think it was cool for Mark to say we got to use what we have to our best ability to not just make us look good, but to make him look good.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's cool.
Well.
Yeah.
Gonna go into the random thing?
We can go into the random thing, yes. Sorry about having a little quick one today, but I think that's just fine.
Yeah, I think we hit like most of the points, and
I felt like they were good points. And if you didn't think so, please comment.
And whoever commented on the forgiveness one, we got it done.
Yeah, we did.
Right.
Yeah, so a random thing of the day. Let's think about it. Well, we're going to do the NFL draft and who we think is going to be picked first. I think we should also go in who's going to get picked second because that's big.
I mean, I haven't really like looked at the draft much, but I could say my first pick.
Yeah.
I would say my first pick is Caleb Williams from USC. Because I think he's just a guy that is just like a no-brainer. Like, I'm just going to take him because,
Yeah.
But
on the other hand, see, I do think that's what's going to happen, but I think it's stupid. Like, the Bears have the first pick, and if they go out and get another quarterback when they already have a good quarterback, in my opinion, they don't have any receivers. He's not great quarterback, but he's in the NFL. He's good, right? So just give him the right tools to make him better. So why don't you draft Marvin Harrison Jr., the best overall athlete, the best overall receiver, and give someone for Justin Fields to throw to?
Guys, I don't think Justin Fields is a very good quarterback. I think he's had, how many seasons has he been in the league for?
I think it's like 1, 2.
No.
2?
I think 2 or 3.
Not 3, 2. It's got to be 2.
2 or 3. So, I feel like he's had his chances. He's had his opportunities.
That's true.
He's played in 34 plus games, whatever it is. So he knows what it's like.
That's true.
And he just hasn't really held up to what they thought he was going to be.
But I feel like that's just the Bears in general. Maybe it's the program. They can't.
I think a quarterback can really a quarterback can turn around a
change
team.
the program.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess
maybe he wasn't put in the best position right away, but you would definitely be able to see some change. I think. But
Yeah, I'm not hating on
That's-
Caleb Williams at all. Like, he's a great quarterback. I heard what he did after the combine, which was, I think, awesome. He just, walked around and spent his entire day there after the workout just to talk to people and make sure people felt like loved and like he was thankful for them to be there, and help him out, even the janitors and stuff like that. So I think that's sounds like a great guy, but I just think for the Bears' sake, the first pick needs to be a great receiver.
Yeah.
But that's our thoughts.
Maybe. All right. See you guys on the next episode.
You would say. All right.